Hi everybody, I'm Mike Garska with SuccessToolTest.com and FindAMentor.com. Welcome to this week's Help Me Communicate, where I help you become a better communicator. This week, I'm going to talk about healthy personal boundaries in communicating. People scowl. We secret keep, we omit, we withhold, and we lie. Scowl is S-K-O-W-L. And it's a common denominator in people. We all do it. Why do we do it? We do it to keep ourselves safe or to keep other people safe. We don't want people to feel negative emotions. That's why we scowl. And there's times where scowling is healthy, and there's times where it's not so healthy. Today we're going to talk about how to do it with integrity, to keep it healthy, to help us to build a healthy relationships. There's times where scowling is not healthy. We have cultural unspoken agreements or non-verbal agreements and sometimes verbal agreements where secret keeping, omitting, withholding, and lying is unacceptable. And it actually takes a relationship deep into despair and dysfunction. And we don't want to use it in those situations. There's times when scowling prevents the relationship from getting stronger. Now, those are intimate relationships. In intimate relationships, there's times where it's healthier to not worry about triggering a negative emotion. But in those situations, you need to invoke healthy conflict resolution skills and to get through those negative emotions and be open and honest and direct and transparent in a significant relationship. It's important. And as we go through those difficult situations and difficult things where we might withhold or lie to another person when we do it with a significant other, and we get through those negative situations using conflict resolution skills, effective ones, the relationship gets stronger and healthier and the love grows. And it's important to not to necessarily avoid all those negative emotions in a significant relationship. But the majority of our relationships, we don't need to trigger all that negative emotion. And so scowling in most relationships is okay to some degree, in different circumstances. And we all accept it at different degrees in different situations in different circumstances as okay. And today we're going to talk about when it's okay and how to use it effectively and with integrity. Now, I come from I have a very diverse, large network of friends and colleagues, and very, very diverse. And I share different stories with different groups of people. I joke about how people have different personalities. And you're one person with this group and another person with that group. You show one person to your kids and you show another person to your group of friends, and a different person again to your group of business colleagues, and a different person again to the people in your church. It's natural. And that's all part of boundary setting. About secret keeping, omitting, and withholding is all part of boundary setting. And when it's done with integrity and in an effective manner, it helps maintain peace of mind in relationships. And one of the reasons I have a very large network and diverse network is I know which stories to share with which groups of people. Now, there's lots of things that I love talking about. And they say never talk about politics and religion. Well, I love talking about politics and religion, but I do it with certain groups of people. I love talking about nature, and I love talking about cooking and gardening, and I love talking about sports and recreation. And so there's different things that I can talk about with different groups of people. Talk about the weather. Everybody talks about the weather. That's, omitting. We omit a whole bunch of other stuff. We talk about things to keep the conversation light, so that we keep people feeling negative or keep people feeling positive. Both people feeling positive. That's the idea. So by developing healthy personal boundaries, you put yourself in a position to have peace of mind in your relationships, in all of them. Are your boundaries healthy? Take a look at your relationships. The ones that are dysfunctional are that way partly because boundaries are muddled. One or more people don't have healthy boundaries, and so it makes the relationship dysfunctional and muddled. There wasn't enough secret keeping, omitting, and withholding in that relationship. Or you don't want, and that happens if, like I say, the more intimate you want your relationship, the less boundaries that you have. I talk about bracketing, sharing certain things with certain groups of people. Because people are all extremely unique, and I never know how people are going to react to a particular topic. So I ask a lot of questions so that I know which stories I can share with different people, which topics I can talk about with different people. That's all part of healthy boundary setting. And so to get to know what you can share with the different groups of people, you got to ask a lot of questions. You got to know what they're comfortable talking about. And based on all the things that I love talking about, I can usually find something to talk to people about. I love business. I can talk business with lots of different people. Sports, I can talk about different types of sports. And I do, if I'm not really, seasoned expert on a particular sport, I'll ask more questions than I'll do talking. And then I get to be more knowledgeable about that sport. Asking questions is one way of keeping boundaries. Keep the other person talking rather than keeping yourself talking. Talk about different topics with different people. That's boundary setting. You have different omissions and different secrets for different groups of people. That's boundary setting. Prevent negative processes from triggering in you or another person by avoiding certain topics or by avoiding talking negative about other people. That's boundary setting. Avoid triggering negative emotion. Avoid triggering negative emotion and progressive negative talk about other people. Avoid gossip is basically another key thing in boundary setting. Today we're talking about preventative communications in a sense. Avoiding triggering negative emotion, and that's where the secret keeping and omitting and withholding comes into effect. What would it be like if you had more peace of mind? I guarantee you, the better you get at boundary setting, the better you get at withholding, omitting, and secret keeping with integrity, the more peace of mind you're going to have in all your relationships. So, for example, I was brought up Catholic. The culture was, family was really important. We did tons of family gatherings. At all the family gatherings, there was lots of alcohol. All my uncles drank, everybody drank, and it was normal, and it's accepted. Drugs were used by the younger generations, marijuana and things like that. That was acceptable to parts of the generation and other parts. And so people do different things with different groups of people. That's natural. That's boundary setting. That's bracketing. And it's okay. Now, I have a lot of different groups of people in my life that don't drink or do drugs, and they don't like them. I don't talk about drugs and alcohol with that group of people. I don't use them with that group of people. Just on a personal note, I use alcohol very little. I do use it, but my kids are both in their 30s, and they've never seen me drunk. I'm a different person when my kids were growing up with my kids then than I am with my kids now that they're adults. As my kids were growing up, I was a different person. I talked about different things with my friends than I did with my kids or with my work colleagues. It was different again. And that's all boundary setting. My wife now, and by the way, my current wife, was introduced to me in a blind date by my first wife, my ex-wife, who we still maintain a strong friendship with, did help me communicate about that divorce situation quite a few weeks ago. If you want more information on that, it's all posted at the Success Tool Chest blog, all these help me communicate things. But my current wife she was brought up Muslim. She's never had a drink in her life. So when we're around her network of family and friends, we don't need to talk about alcohol. We know what everybody's opinions are. We keep it safe and we bracket what we talk about. That's natural and healthy to have those boundaries. Some people are in my life. I love to talk about business, so I talk about business with them. And with some people, with my inner conversations, I talk about certain things. With my conversations or my friends that are not as intimate, I bracket more. Some people are an open book with everybody. When you're an open book with everybody, you're going to find lots of negative emotions and negative talk getting triggered. I'm careful who I'm an open book with. The more intimate my relationship, the more open, direct that I am. I have less boundaries and less brackets with my wife than I do with any other individual, because that's my closest relationship. I have less boundaries than I do with my kids than I do with any other people. That's because those relationships are important to me. I want them to be intimate. And the more we go through our struggles and our differences and our conflicts and get through them with common ground and with effective resolution. Now, I'm a seasoned conflict resolution process person, so I can get through those difficult conversations. And I strongly suggest that you get good at conflict resolutions. If you want your intimate, close relationships to get deeper and healthier and more love, get good at conflict resolution, because every time you go through one, you get closer. But with most relationships, it's best to have boundaries and to bracket. So choose what you're going to talk about with different groups of people. You're one person with your kids, and you're another person with your friends, and you're another person at work, and that's okay. That's all part of bracketing and choosing who you're going to talk to about certain things. And it's about maintaining positive, healthy relationships. And we want to maintain positive thinking and positive feelings in ourselves and in other people in our interactions. We know there's thousands of books out there about the power of positive thinking and positive emotions and why it's so important if you want success in your life. It's extremely important. Secret keeping, omitting, and withholding helps keep things positive. Now, one of the most important boundaries to have, in my opinion, if you want to keep things positive in your life, is to avoid negative talk about other people. Avoid gossip. Napoleon Hill, in his last book that he wrote before he passed, was called Grow Rich with Peace of Mind. And in that book, he has a chapter where he talks about the 26 enemies in the jungle of life that we are all in. And in this jungle of life that we're all in, there's 26 enemies. And I think that the next world war is against these 26 enemies. And the next world war will actually be fought within each of us, within ourselves. A war against those 26 enemies in each of our individual jungles of life. And those enemies are things like fear and revenge and vengeance and gossip and intolerance. And there's 26 of them. Napoleon Hill, Grow Rich with Peace of Mind. You can find the full list of 26 in there. I'll post them on the blog here one of these days as well. Actually, I'll do it after I post this video at the Success Tool Chest blog in the next week or so. We'll also post the 26 enemies. But one of those enemies is gossip. And gossip is all about communicating. And it's all about invoking negative thought patterns and emotional patterns about other people. That's what gossip is. And it's not healthy. Bracket your gossip. Set a boundary about talking about gossip. Gossip triggers negative emotion, and the reward of any emotion or any feeling is the same emotion. When I'm angry, and I'm expressing anger, the other person's going to get angrier, and then I'm going to get angrier. And that's what happens. Anger begets more anger. When I'm really patient, I get more patience. And the person I'm talking to or interacting with sees my patience, and they get patience. And we invoke patience, and patience moves back and forth. Same thing with confidence. When I'm feeling confident, and I look for things in other people that they do well, and I tell them what they're doing well at, they get more confidence. And I spread confidence. And then they spread confidence. And then we all get more confidence in our lives. Persistence, perseverance, patience, love. The more we give love, the more love comes back to us. It's natural. It's the science of emotion. The more we feel an emotion and the more we spread that emotion, the more of that emotion that comes back to us. It's the law of attraction. When I'm talking about spirituality, I look for the common denominators in spirituality. One of the common denominators in all spirituality, whether I'm talking Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism or paganism, they all talk about the golden rule. What we do unto others, we get back to ourselves. Well, that applies more than anything else to emotion. The more we spread positive emotion like confidence and persistence and love and patience and perseverance and harmony, the more we get that back. The more we spread anger and negative emotion about other people, the more we get that back. When I talk negatively about an individual and to point out their negative behavior, then the other person that I'm talking to takes that and says, oh, you're right. And we normally naturally attract people that will agree with us on our basic values and belief systems. And so then they take it to the next person and they talk about it. And so now we've got 4 people talking about this person's negative behavior. Well, we're all being negative. So when somebody is starting to gossip about somebody else's negative behavior, I do one of 2 things. I either point out the positives in that person that they're talking about and switch the conversation around, or I mention, I think of that person that I'm talking to, and I think of a situation that they felt that same negative type emotion and process and how they reacted differently. And I point out that, in some circumstances, you might invoke that negative behavior and do that as well. So, and I try to get them to a sense of understanding and acceptance of the other person's negative behavior so they stop spreading it, talking about it with other people and spreading that negative energy. So I either talk about the positives in that person that they're talking about, or I bring them to a place of understanding so they understand why that person experienced that negative behavior. Now again, I talk about each person's unique human interaction process, our hips, how we sense, think, feel, intend, and act. And we all do it all day, every day as we're communicating and interacting with ourselves and other people in the world around us. And our human interaction processes are as unique as our DNA. 7 billion different people, 7 billion different unique DNAs, 7 billion different unique hips. And everybody in a situation or a circumstance will respond differently, even if it's sometimes just slightly, than the next person. But they're all unique. And different situations will trigger different negative emotions and responses in one person than the next. And if we come to that level of understanding that this person has something going on that we might not be aware of, and that's why they responded with that negative behavior, and I get the person to think about that, they get to a level of acceptance and they stop the gossip. And so that's one of my boundaries. Avoid gossip or stop it in its tracks by pointing out the negative stuff. That's one of my boundaries. So the boundaries that I've talked about today, 4 of them, different topics for different boundaries for different people or different groups of people. Number 1, talk about different things. Invoke positive emotion. Keep positive emotion present in any human interaction process. Different omissions, different secrets, different withholds for different groups of people. One of the best withholding, one of the most important boundaries to have is to avoid giving advice unless it's been asked for. Now, with family members and with people that we have more intimate relationships with, that's really difficult. It's still really, really smart. Don't give advice unless you've been asked. Most of the time, it's going to trigger negative emotion. And if you're going to do that, you better be skilled at conflict resolution skills so that you can find common ground and move on and both get growth out of the situation. If you're not skilled, just avoid giving that advice unless it's been asked for. Really, really important. So that's withholding. So different secrets, different omissions, different withholding for different groups and different people. Prevent negative processes, avoid triggering negative emotion, and avoid gossip, all kind of grouped together. That's a good boundary to have. So when people are being negative about other people, stop it. Point out the positives. That's a good boundary to have, to be a positive person and to move forward positively in your life. So I hope you learned something from today's boundary setting, different topics for different groups of people, avoiding gossip, different secrets and different omissions and different withholds for different groups of people. It's all okay. The goal is to keep interactions positive. And if you need to be open, honest, direct, and truthful and go through a negative emotion process, get good at your conflict communication skills and resolution techniques. Take a couple of courses. SuccessToolChest.com. We have a contact communications course that's great for helping you resolve conflict in any situation and help you make your intimate relationships, those relationships that matter the most, the significant relationships in your life, stronger, deeper, and more love. Take that conflict resolutions course, and every time you have those conflicts, your relationship will get stronger if you use those techniques. But in general, use your scowling, your secret keeping, your omitting and withholding, and lying. Avoid the lying, but as much as you can. But the secret keeping, omitting, withholding is important in maintaining all types of diverse relationships. And I live in Canada where we have a very diverse culture. It's very important to use those techniques with integrity. I hope you enjoyed today's talk. If you have any questions or you have a situation where you want some help with in communicating, just post it here below here or post it at successtoolchest.com. We talk about, you can download the free HIP, Human Interaction Process Effective Awareness Tool for conflict communications. It's for free in a PDF or a video format at successtoolchest.com. Just go there and sign up for it and we'll give it to you free. We'll send it to you free. Check out findamentor.com. You can be a mentor in over 1,900 different categories of life and pay it forward and give back, or you can be a mentee in that area of life that you want to increase your knowledge and wisdom in. Join findamentor.com. It's all free. And again, like our page, ask questions, make comments here at Facebook or at successtoolchest.com or at YouTube on our YouTube channel, Mike Garska, Success Tool Chest. Google that, you'll get our YouTube channel. We post all of our Help Me Communicates at YouTube and at Success Tool Chest in the vlog blog. I hope you enjoyed today. Keep healthy boundaries. Talk to people, omit the right things. Use your bracketing. Keep your relationships positive. That's today's message. Go out and make it an awesome day. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.